Oh, good evening, ladies and sinners. Welcome to another edition, the 12th episode of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio. I'm your host, Cale Henderson, and we are here for a good one tonight. Listen, the What If series is underway with IE Sports Radio because Larry B, man, he can't put things in the past. He's got to relive all the trauma, sports trauma in our areas. And I'm a Raiders fan, so you guys already know the topic we're going to talk about tonight. Shout out to those folks already in the chat. Gotta love you guys. Thank you, Taryn, Larry, Adam. Thanks for joining. Adam, thanks for running a little long, man. I actually did need a few seconds to grab a little bit of water. Watching this Edmonton Oilers game, man, and it's a lot of fun. I want to see Connor McDavid win one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Guy's legendary. Say what you want about Connor McDavid, but he's a legend. I love his talent. I'd like to see him win one, but I'd also like to see the Tampa Bay Lightning three-peat. That'd be the dopest thing ever. Has there ever been a three-peat? Adam, can you tell me, has there ever been a three-peat in the modern NHL era? And I'm not talking about the 1900s. Not talking about that. Yeah, I was totally joking about the water thing. I just wanted to make you feel better about yourself. Yeah. I see you, man. I see you. No, but for real, has there ever been a three-peat, Adam, in the modern NHL era? Maybe, I don't know. And I'm not excluding about the old days. I'd just love to see Tampa Bay do that. They're so talented. Freaky talented. I know they're dealing with injuries, but they still have Stamkos, Kucherov, Vasilevsky. I mean, come on, man. That team is loaded still. So no wonder they're still doing what they're doing. But shout out to the Rangers as well, because what a team, right? That team was bottom feeders 4 years ago. Now look what they're doing. They're in the NHL Eastern Conference Finals. What a turnaround for that. That GM needs some more money, right? Anyway, folks, again, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition, another Tuesday evening edition of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Got a few things to talk about tonight. We do have a Las Vegas Aces game underway as we speak. The Las Vegas Aces are they're a hot start right now, guys. It's halftime. Underway in Las Vegas at the Michelob Ultra Arena. The Aces currently have a commanding lead at 50. Commanding lead, I guess I shouldn't say that in basketball because 8 points is pretty easy to recover on. But 50-42. Right now, they've started the season off 8-1. Man, they're the hottest team in the WNBA and they're killing it. It just seems as though those threes are dropping. The shooting percentage is about 48+%. Man, you gotta love it. Gotta love it. With that said, folks. I think it's time. I think it's time we do it. We got to talk about those folks that pay the bills, right? That give us the love. Southern California Warriors, the semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film out, to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape no matter what. All semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance. If you love your sport, you may get that second chance you have been waiting for as an athlete. Social media, guys, follow them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, and Facebook, the Southern California Warriors. And then we got to give a shout out to IE Sports Radio, our platform, right? Our database, our space to express what we love, which is sports, man. We always love that. For the last 7.5 years, actually it's 8 years now. I gotta edit my sponsor. My bad, Larry. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all sports. Major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of the flagship show hosted by the man, the myth, the legend, Larry B. himself, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Justin Ekstrom, you're still the man. Vikings fan from Minnesota, thank you so much. Listen, I'm gonna give another congrats to Mike Pat. I know this is an old reading, but I gotta say it, for winning that NFL mock draft. Good for you, man. I should have joined. You guys should have seen it that night. I was money. Okay, I missed like six picks, but still. Listen, a lot of things to talk about. Third quarter's underway in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Aces, 50-42. You want to talk about a team that's on fire, man, before we get into our what if, right? Because we love to live in the past here at IE Sports Radio. The Las Vegas Aces are up 50-42. The third quarter's just about to start here. They're on an 8-1 run. 8-1 start the season. What an incredible start to the year. The big thing and the big numbers I can tell you guys to attribute to why this team right now has started 8-1. They're shooting at about 47% field goal percentage. It's unbelievable. The 3-point percentage is about 41%. Their free throws 80.6. They're putting up 92 points a game. Their opponents 79 points a game. There you go. Defensive efficiency is killing it. Offensive efficiency, when you look at that field goal percentage and 3-point percentage, just means you're scoring a lot of points. It's kind of hard to beat a team that is just dropping J's like that, right? How can you stop that? So the Las Vegas Aces are underway. Again, third quarter just started, 9:28 left, 50-42. And it's a barn burner, man. I hope they continue to win. This would be a great story to continue for this offseason for these major teams there in Las Vegas. Not to mention Mark Davis has to be happy since purchasing this team. They've done nothing but win games. So shout out to Las Vegas Aces. If you guys get a chance, check out those Lady Aces, man. They're always ready to go. After the show, of course, check them out on 100.9 FM there in the Las Vegas area. And, yeah, show those Lady Aces some love. Hashtag all in. Golden Knights are still in the search for their head coach. They're in no hurry. What's crazy to me is Barry Trotz still hasn't been scooped up yet. He's still available. Pete DeBoer, I totally see him ending up in a place like the Islanders. It wouldn't surprise me if that ends up being a swap for teams. Vegas is going to be a hot place for a lot of people to want to come to, a lot of coaches to want to come to. Simply put, I just think there's a lot of firepower here. Yeah, there's no elite talent, but there's a lot of really good players that were injured last year. The injury bug really screwed Pete DeBoer. I still think he should be the head coach of the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Vegas Golden Knights, but it is what it is, man. You know, the management thought they had to make a change. My concern with this overall program moving forward is how do you continue to get away with firing head coaches that win more than 65% of their games? That's two coaches now. The team's only been in existence for 5 years. You've now gone through two coaches, and neither one of those coaches have a losing season, right? It's kind of incredible. And what Pete DeBoer did this year was unbelievable, considering your main players like Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, Jack Eichel. I mean, we could keep going on. William Karlsson. Man, I'm pardon me for missing some of these players because there's quite a few. Again, there's quite a few very, very good players in this team. But the problem is majority of those guys only played like 35 games, maybe less. That's a problem. When your better players are not playing majority of the season, you're in trouble. Okay? It's an 82-game year, 82-game season in the NHL, right? 82 games. If your players are playing less than half of them, you're in trouble. Your best players, I should say. So Pete DeBoer did the best he could. The fact that they were in fourth place in their division is unbelievable, and they still had a winning record. Not fourth place just to say fourth place, but they had a winning record plus fourth place. I think he did the best he could, and I think he'd do. I don't know. I think he'd do wonders on a team that has a really good roster. So it should be interesting to see where he ends up. And you just never know with these NHL coaches. You could try and give a guess of where these guys are going to go based on ties and stuff like that, but NHL coaches, in my opinion, are some of the worst to try and guess as to where they'll end up, because they tend to just go where they feel wanted, where their heart goes. That's the one thing about hockey. I think it's one of the purest sports out there. If you're an old school hockey guy, you kind of tend to stay an old school hockey guy, and that's one thing I like about hockey is it's kind of stayed old school. It's kept to its origination, if you will, and it should be interesting to see where some of these coaches end up. Barry Trotz, he's going to be the hot name. He's the big ticket item. He's the guy everybody who has an opening is going to be looking at. He's the big fish for sure. It's still a mystery to me as how he was let go an offseason after he won, and I should say the same offseason after he won the 2018 Stanley Cup. ended up going to the Islanders. Uh, was very interested in that signing. I wasn't so sure about him going to the Islanders, but he made them a better team in general. I totally see Barry Trotz being that hot ticket item. Pete DeBoer, again, hot ticket item. He's going to be somebody I think gets picked up pretty quick. Paul Maurice is out there. Some teams really going to benefit from having him on their roster. Intriguing possibilities, and I said this last week. And Adam, if you're still listening, man, I want to hear your input on this. What would you think about Bruce Boudreau landing in Las Vegas? Right? In the Pacific Division once again. After dominating the Pacific Division majority of his coaching career as the Anaheim Ducks head coach, what would you think about Bruce Boudreau being the next Las Vegas Golden Knights head coach with all that offensive firepower they have there at the right wing and center position? Right? I mean, just think about it, man. I watched it for years. I watched Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaf, who are both probably going to be Hall of Famers, turn into Hall of Famers because Bruce Boudreau got the most potential out of them, or the most out of them with his coaching style. He's very good. He coaches a physical style hockey team. I just feel like Bruce Boudreau would be a really good mix-up in that Pacific Division, considering majority of that Pacific Division has seemed to go to kind of speed and fast break scoring, transition scoring, I should say, on the ice. I don't know. I'd love to see that heavy on the puck style. I guess the Flames kind of do that a little bit. That's something that's kind of really kept them in contention, and maybe at the top of the Pacific the last few years. I would be very intrigued to see Bruce get another shot there. I think the Vegas Golden Knights would be a good spot for him. Remember, the Anaheim Ducks players didn't want Bruce Boudreau gone. They had just left, I want to say, 2 straight Game 7 losses in the Western Conference Finals, and it's not easy to get there. So, seriously, man, Taryn, I agree. That man was just shipped off, and he shouldn't have been. Bob Murray didn't know what the hell he was doing. Boudreau did the best he could. He had one of the better teams in the Western Conference for years, as he was the Anaheim Ducks head coach. Give him a shot. If I'm the Vegas Golden Knights, if you can't land Barry Trotz, and he's the big fish, he's the big market guy, go after Bruce. Give it a shot. See what happens. You know, your team's already kind of in cap hell, okay? And you're in a rebuild mode. Give Bruce a few years with this cap hell team. See what happens. Go all in. I personally like the idea of it. I saw what happened for years over there in Anaheim. There were very few teams that could stack up against the Ducks. They played physical. It was nasty, and they scored a lot of goals, man. A lot of goals. So that would be exciting to see over there. So that's kind of my wild card or intriguing possibility, if you will. I really like the idea of Bruce Boudreau. Double B, we should call him. His name kind of messes with you after a while. John Tortorella. He's not a bad idea. Mike Babcock might not be a bad idea either. Joe Quenneville's a hell no at this point. I know he's a legendary coach, but that Blackhawks controversy, I think people need to stay away from him and kind of run away from that situation. But yeah, I'd say the top 2 for the Vegas Golden Knights at this point. If you can't get Barry Trotz, go throw a bunch of money at Bruce. Good coach. Good coach. And it'd be interesting to see that stylistic hockey change a little bit, right? Because a lot of the Pacific Division, again, it seems like it's kind of moved to more of a finesse style. Imagine bringing Bruce in with some of these Vegas guys. I know they had some injury issues last year, but man, they are heavy on the boards, heavy on the puck, and they play physical. Those are the Bruce Boudreau type teams, right? Vegas would love that. And oh man, would it be a sight to see in that arena, watching your team just cake other NHL hockey players all day long. That'd be a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, we're waiting for the Golden Knights to find their head coach. It sounds like they're going to be patient. They're kind of going to let some things kind of play out with these Final Four teams. I think that there's some whispers out there that there could be another coach's opening. I don't know how it works in the NHL with these guys. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, maybe the Golden Knights are being patient, thinking, hey, listen, there's a possibility there's another coach's opening, and if that's the case, we'll just snag one of these hot young coaches. I don't believe in it. Go after your guy. If you have a guy that's available, if you think he fits your system and what you're trying to do there in Vegas, Just do it. Just go after him. Pull the trigger. Pay the man. You're the Vegas Golden Knights. There's no way you don't have the money. Your arena has essentially been sold out almost every home game since your inception. And, yeah, you're basically playing on free money anyway because Vegas helped. I mean, it wasn't as much as the Raiders, but they helped put up that team and put them in a great position. With that said, we're going to transition over to our commercial break. I want to give my IE Sports Radio family a little bit of love. We do have the what if factor that's going on here in IE Sports Radio. And with that said, when it comes to what if, I'm a Raiders fan. You guys already know the what if that's coming. Okay? On May 5th, 2022, Tom Brady admitted it was a fumble. The tuck rule in itself was a fumble. When we get back here on IE Sports Radio, or I should say the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed, all that is sports, we will touch base on that.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it. College football, and do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I A in the FBS. Well then, look no further. Join myself, Larry B, and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Wrestling fans in the podcast world, you are in the right place to listen to the right show, the premier show in the professional wrestling podcasting world. This is Ring Rambling Radio, and you are listening to one of the co-hosts. I am Martin Sandoval, a.k.a. the SoCal Saint, along with my 2 co-hosts, the lovely Felicia and my boy Matt. Yes, every Saturday or every other Saturday morning, you can listen to us, the premier wrestling team, giving you the premier wrestling news, rumors, updates, event discussions, everything that has to do with professional wrestling. You're in the right place. IE Sports Radio presents Ring Rambling Radio. Don't miss it, because it's just too sweet.
What's up, up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Harrison Glazer, and we're coming at you from the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. I cover the Jets, the Islanders, the Nets, and the Yankees.
This is Pierre Moss, and I cover the Mets, Knicks, Rangers, and the Giants.
Our show is live every Wednesday through Spreaker and a bunch of other ways to get our content. Again, we're the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. We talk about all those New York sports. It's a lot of fun. We get into all of it. Please tune in. Again, that's Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
And we look forward to having you guys right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Ladies and centers, welcome back. After a little break, man, we got to give our IE Sports Radio family some love. You guys get a chance, go to the Spreaker.com app or Spreaker app in general and start liking some of these shows. All right? Give my teammates some love. Taryn, thank you for being back. It's kind of a joke. You know, Larry took a 2-week hiatus because of his wedding and everything like that. It's like that absentee father that left for milk but never came back. Well, 3 weeks later. At least it came back, right? It's a thought that counts. A lot of people get to experience that. Hope I didn't cause any trauma with that. Live update on the Las Vegas Aces basketball game. They've still got a 10-point lead, commanding lead in the third quarter of tonight's game. Again, 8-1 run, man. The Las Vegas Aces, the Lady Aces are killing it. Hashtag all in. We'll continue to give you guys sports updates or the score updates as we go. Edmonton and the Avalanche are still underway. A lot of scoring going on in that game, man. And last I checked was the first period. The end of it was like 2-2. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring. There's not a lot of defense that goes on there. And then there's the Rangers in that aspect. And I heard this on Philly Sports Talk radio show, and I 100% agree. 100% agree. It would not surprise me if the Rangers and the Lightning are more of a low-scoring affair. Maybe we don't hear that as much in a lot of today's hockey. But, yeah, I feel like that'll be kind of a low-scoring affair. Excited for playoff hockey. If you guys want to give any kind of sport a chance, give playoff hockey a chance, right? If you guys want to get into or dabble into new sports, get a hold of Taryn Rodriguez. He'll talk to you about volleyball. Not necessarily my thing, honestly, but yeah, because, well, for various reasons. One of them was just high school related. But I'm telling you guys, if you guys like volleyball, get after Taryn. He knows his stuff. He'll find a way to get you passionate. Taryn says, can we just marvel the fact that the Las Vegas Ramblers have the second best record in the NBA, National Volleyball Association? The Ramblers are 5-1, just one game back of the New Jersey Freedom, 6-0. Don't sleep on the Ramblers. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I didn't even know that association existed. Okay? Reach out to Taryn. You want to learn more. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to volleyball. The guy runs set point. Give him a shot. With that said, I want to give a shout out to our 4 Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, Imlos Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Again, great fucking name. Anonymous. I don't know how he got the original Anonymous. It's amazing to me. I don't know how he did it. Again, it's usually 1-2 Anonymous, 1-2 Kitty Kitty Lick Lick. 30 plus years of domain names, and that guy got the original Anonymous. Fantastic. Welcome back. Again, welcome back to the IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You can get at us on our Twitter at SinCity_IESR, or you can get at me on my personal Cale_Henderson. We're talking about the what ifs. It's a wonderful world we live in today. We can kind of wander back into the past and just say, hey, what if this happened? How would things have changed? We're going to dive into that a little bit here on the Sin City Sports Show. And again, what a world we live in. Right? I mean, we can access anything. You can do all your kinds of research on the internet. If you really wanted to, you guys could go see the greatest doctor, plumber, fireman. He's one click away. Okay? And all your fantasies come true with a few strokes. I'm just saying. I'm not going to name it because that's not what we do here, but this is explicit. It's a wonderful world we live in. You can get all your stuff at one click. And the one thing I'm going to tell you guys to do your research. I can remember it like it was yesterday. In Foxborough. Not the new stadium. The old Patriots dump. It's a snowy night. You got snowblowers all over the place. They're basically having to sweep off the snow, the heavy snow on the field, just so they could see lines. The Patriots, the Raiders are in New England, in Foxborough, the old stadium, playing the New England Patriots. This is before the Patriots went on their run. And my what if is pretty simple. What if those referees, those highly trained referees that were paid thousands of dollars to call games, made the right call? What if they didn't call the tuck rule? The rule that was just made up for that one game that had never been called before, right? Maybe except for one other time the following year. And then it was completely abolished because of all the heat it brought the NFL, right? What if the tuck rule was never called? What if it was called a fumble? The Raiders have the ball with a lead. 1 minute, 30 seconds left. One of the best offensive attacks in all of the National Football League could have easily melted off the clock. You're looking at a possibility of John Gruden and the Raiders playing in their first Super Bowl. John Gruden not getting traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for multiple high picks, for that matter. I'm telling you guys. Terrence said it himself, the tuck rule. More like the, fuck rule, according to Ice Cube. Yeah, absolutely. That documentary is playing just to my left right now, Terrence. Again, it was like it was yesterday. I'm a kid. I'm hanging out at my buddy's house. His dad, who is that once a year, dad of the year type thing. He and his dad were playing Diablo in their basement because that's what they did together. I'm in the 5th grade. I'm upstairs cheering. They think I'm a psycho because they're racing fans, big-time racing fans. And I see Charles Woodson blitzing from the left. It was one of the only cornerback blitzes that you saw the entire game, and Charles Woodson was just very good at doing that. He was very good at headhunting the ball. He comes in. Tom Brady looks like he's going to pass. He brings the ball. He tucks it back in. It is a complete wash next to his body. Charles Woodson hits it out of his hands. Number 51 falls on the ball. It should be Raiders football, but no. The referees out of nowhere said this is the tuck rule. Tom Brady had the intent of making a forward pass as he was bringing the ball back. And because of that, his arm was in a forward motion even if it was towards his body. Therefore, it was an incomplete pass. Complete bullshit. Absolute BS. No one believed it. Nobody watching, not even Patriots fans, thought that was a tuck rule. Everyone thought it was a fumble. Tom Brady said it himself. I thought they were going to give it to him. Because he knew, man. And it wasn't until May 5th of this year did he come out and admit maybe it was a fumble. Yeah, because 20 years later, you can kind of say that. 20 years and 7 Super Bowls later, you can kind of say that crap. That what if is probably the biggest one in Raiders history. Okay? I could probably think of a couple more what ifs. If you guys would like me to get into that, I'd be happy to. But the big one right here is the Tuck rule. They have a full documentary on it. A Football Life on it, an NFL Network. You got John Gruden, Amy Trask, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. They're all trying to avoid the truth. They're all laughing. They're all smiling. They all know. Bill Belichick's forgotten more about football than anybody we know here on this earth. Right? Let's be real. On this earth. And he just laughs when it's brought up. Tom Brady still laughs when it's brought up, even though he's finally admitted it was a fumble. John Gruden was screwed out of his job there. For whatever reason, Al Davis thought, hey, we could send this young coach on. His offensive coordinator can continue to just let this team cruise with a veteran squad, and we can get a bunch of second-round picks that we did nothing with. Right? Just so many things, so many possibilities when you look at it. You had a hot young head coach that really rebuilt this Raiders team. He started out 8-8 in his first year, right? Went to 9-7, 10-6, then he went to 11-5, then he was traded. The guy was one game away from playing for a Super Bowl. Crazy. So that's the big what if here in Raiders land, right? Here's another one for you. 1987. The 1987 NFL Draft. You guys may know that as the quarterback draft, right? Not 04, not with Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and all those guys. Actually, that's probably 03. No, I think it was 04. I'm talking about 1987. You guys remember that draft? The 1987 NFL Draft is when John Elway, Dan Marino, the likes of others, that was a big-time draft. Big-time draft. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm pretty sure it was the 1987 draft. Yeah. Sorry, 1983. I apologize. The 1983 NFL Draft. That had John Elway, Dan Marino, and them. John Elway kind of held off. He was going to get picked up by the Baltimore Colts. He held off. He did the Eli Manning thing. Actually, this was Eli Manning's playbook for when he was drafted by the Chargers. He didn't want to be a Charger. So he ended up on the Giants because he kind of held out and said, I'm not going to play for you guys. Therefore, a trade was made, right? Pretty easy trade. Kind of set them up for the future. Same thing happened in 1983 with John Elway and the Baltimore Colts. He ended up in Denver because Denver traded up to get him. Baltimore, their GM at the time wasn't going to budge. Why is this relevant? Here's the other what if for the Raiders. And to me, it's kind of a big one. What if the Los Angeles Raiders at 26 picked Dan Marino over center Don Mosbar, who was legitimately picked one pick later at 27? The Raiders were in quarterback hell. They were. The Raiders were in quarterback hell for a while. They could have picked up Dan Marino at number 26, the legendary Dan Marino who took the Miami Dolphins in his rookie year to the Super Bowl. Right? What if the Los Angeles Raiders picked up Dan Marino, the gunslinger? How awesome would that have been, seeing him in a Raiders uniform? I totally see them winning a couple Super Bowls with Dan there. In my opinion, the Raiders were a better constructed roster at that time. They were just missing a quarterback. Listen, that center went on to be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro a couple years, but he was no Dan Marino, let's be real. He was no Dan Marino. Taryn Rodriguez comes in and says, what if Derek Carr didn't get hurt back in 2016? Was there anybody hotter back in 2016 than Derek Carr? Was there? I mean, honestly. He was that dude people were paying to see. Comeback win after comeback win after comeback win. He still does it now in the Raiders uniform. It basically, Taryn, I know you can attest to this. If this guy has the ball in a one-score game with less than 2 minutes left, or around 2 minutes, is there anybody in the NFL you trust more to get it done? The guy has more comeback victories since 2014 than anybody in the NFL, including Matt Stafford. Derek Carr was rolling. They had a 3-score lead with 9 minutes left. 9 minutes left. They had a 3-score lead. Your team made the playoffs for the first time in what felt like more than a decade. Actually, it was more than a decade, right? 2016 was the first time the Raiders had been in the playoffs since 2003. And your starting quarterback is still in the game. On top of that, your all-pro left tackle that year, Donald Penn, who allowed 1 sack all season. That was the sack he allowed. And the quarterback's shin bone gets twisted all the way around. Broken ankle, shin bone, whatever it was. It was that spiral fracture. You guys know what I'm talking about, which is super gross. By the way, there's injuries I can take in this world that I can see. Broken fingers, hanging arms. But for some reason, and let me know if you guys agree, broken legs, F with me, man. They do. Something about a broken leg just really grosses me out. Is anybody else on that same page listening? Broken legs are the grossest thing ever. That Dak Prescott one, Joe Theismann. I'm going to say it like this, guys. Derek Carr gets way too much hate. It's so funny how the Raiders fans just hate on this dude. They absolutely hate on this dude. But other fan bases give him nothing but respect. Taryn, you know what I'm talking about. You're a Chargers fan. You've given him nothing but respect on this radio show, in this forum. You could crap on him whenever you want. But you've given him nothing but respect because the guy's been a pain in the Chargers' ass. He's been a pain in the Denver Broncos' ass. Okay? The one team he hasn't been a pain in the butt to is the Chiefs. They're like his kryptonite. But, I mean, it was kind of like that for Big Ben, right? Big Ben had a team. He couldn't seem to compete. He couldn't seem to beat the Ravens on a consistent basis until he started getting some more weapons around him. Right? The Ravens seemed to always beat them. But Ben still won 2 Super Bowls. Right now, Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite is the San Francisco 49ers. Can we all agree on that? I don't know. Derek Carr just, oof. Larry says, man, imagine that. If Carr was healthy that year in the playoffs. Correct. Carr would have been playing. I'll put it to you like this, Larry. And Terrence, since you guys are the ones really involved here. I'll say it like this. If Derek Carr doesn't get hurt against Indianapolis, we're going into Denver and playing for 13-3. Right? Not 12-4, but 13-3. Why does that matter? The Kansas City Chiefs had the number 2. They had the number 2 seed at 12-4. The Raiders were a wild card at 12-4 because the Kansas City Chiefs had tiebreakers over the Raiders. The Raiders couldn't beat them. They went 4-2. Okay? And I'll say it like this. If the Raiders win in Denver that following week where they had to start Connor Cook, they go 13-3. They are now the number 1 seed. New England becomes the number 2 seed, and Kansas City is the wild card. That is the difference in that injury, in that game. You're playing your first home game in Oakland in years. That madhouse is going nuts against whoever decides they want to come in after the bye week to play the red-hot Raiders that can apparently score on anybody who have Khalil Mack and the young gun Derek Carr. Think about that, Larry. That was the difference in that game, his injury right there. They go from 12-4, they're 13-3, beating Denver the following week. They have the number 1 seed, and home playoff games are in Oakland, in the black hole. Jaron Rodriguez says, same. My legs are already hurting just thinking about it. Dude, broken legs are the grossest thing ever. 100%. The grossest thing ever when you see it. I'm a grown man. I don't mind seeing blood and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm just kind of sick if I see something like, if an arm's hanging. But if I see a leg, ugh, gross. Terrence says, agreed. Derek Carr does not get his roses when he deserves it. 100%. He's crapped on when he makes a bad play. And it's really focused on when he fumbles. It's really focused on when he throws a pick. But really nobody's looked at the team that's surrounded him. Right now, the roster that's in place this year, guys, this is the best roster he's had. The best roster that Derek Carr has had probably since 2016, maybe 2017, where they put that super roster together, but they made coaching changes. The offense was different. For whatever reason, Jack Del Rio said, hey, let's take a top 10 offense for the last 2 years and completely change the identity there. I didn't like that. This is the best team Derek Carr's ever had in his career so far. This is the best receiving tandem, receiving core, pass catchers, running back room. Not the offensive line. The offensive line is still sketch, but I think it's young and has a ton of potential. And evidently, so does this new regime. Otherwise, they would have done a complete overhaul of this offensive line. And that reminds me, that gives me another segue. We're going to play some more love to our IE Sports family. When we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the players that are available and who the Raiders can attack because they happen to have some money coming back. So when we get back here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi everybody, it's Calvin here from USRN, here to give you an important message. Since 2017, we have done our absolute best to provide you with nothing but the highest quality of sports calls in the greatest of quantity possible. Thanks to you, our station has grown more than we ever thought. That's why, with your help, we would like to grow even further. Just think, twice the amount of your favorite calls, 24 hours of coverage, talk shows, play-by-play, game-by-game analysis, and so much more. That's right, USRN2 is officially in development, but we can't do it alone. We have set up a GoFundMe page that you can access from our homepage on the left of your screen. We also are planning special giveaways and prizes to our highest donors. Our goal here at USRN is to bring you the best calls possible at no cost to you. In order to continue to do that, we need your help now. Please check out our GoFundMe page, and if you would like to know how you can help, you can email usrnradio@gmail.com. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do. Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me and hear me good. If you like sports, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like comedy, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. If you like a different opinion coming from a different angle, then you like the Wait a Minute Show. So join me Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your host, Jelani J.B. Bodie. And of course, my man Lopan on the WaitAMinuteShow.com. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Oh man, that song gets me charged up, folks. Welcome back again to IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio. This is your host, Cal Henderson. We're back at it again. Yes, we are. Another Tuesday edition at 7 p.m. there in the Vegas time zone, the Pacific Standard Time Zone. We love our Vegas sports. A little bit of an update on the Las Vegas Aces. They still have a lead right now, 85-69 over the Connecticut Sun. They're looking for their 9th victory of the season, which also looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Their 7th straight win. 7th straight. On this home stretch that's underway here. Got a 3-game home stretch coming up. This will be one of the 3 games. Big game. I feel you, man, Taryn. This music makes me want to go. I may be biased, but, this might be the best song in all of IE Sports Radio. Gets me pumped up. You know what I'm saying. Kind of back to the Raiders, guys. We talked about the Tuck rule, the what if. We also talked about the 1983 draft. What would have happened if we drafted Dan Marino instead of that center? Right? Where would the trajectory be? Chat chimed in. Larry B said, what about 2016? No, it was actually Taryn Rodriguez. What about the 2016 Raiders? What if Derek Carr doesn't break his leg? What if that one sack that Donald Penn allowed all year didn't allow Derek Carr's leg to get broken when he was on a red-hot MVP caliber type year? Makes you wonder, guys. Really makes you wonder. And with that said, we have to talk about this team. This team is right now in the best position it's been in a decade, right? Now, some of that credit's got to go to Gruden. I'll say it like this. He made some really bonehead plays, really bad draft picks over the years. But this team is where it's at, and the structure, the cap space, all of it was where it's at for Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels and Champ Kelly, assistant GM Champ Kelly. I got to give a shout out to African-American man. Listen, that guy is doing things that on the scouting level I don't think people understand. This Raiders draft was excellent. I think he had everything to do with it. Champ Kelly deserves his praises, and I'm really excited for him because he's a former Bear assistant GM, moved over to the Raiders for the exact same job. I don't believe he'll be a Raider very long. I'd like to see him here 2 years. I don't see it happening, especially if the Raiders do really well this year, and I expect them to. I don't think we'll have Champ Kelly next year. And you guys know the new Rooney Rule. The NFL is going to reward teams who hire minorities at crucial positions, like the assistant GM, assistant coaches, quarterback coaches. If these guys get picked up with full-time jobs, they get promotions on other teams, your team gets rewarded draft picks as high as a second rounder. So incentive to start hiring African-American people. That rule wasn't fully passed until after Champ Kelly, after Patrick Graham were hired for the Raiders. This new regime, man, they're dope. Honestly, I'm on board. I'm going to give them all the love, all the praise until they prove me otherwise. So far, this roster is the best I've seen it in over a decade, it feels like. Okay? This could be the best roster Derek Carr's played on. They have Devontae Adams, who is arguably the number one wide receiver in the NFL. You have Darren Waller, top 3 tight end in the NFL, probably the most elite pass catcher out of all the tight ends. Listen, Travis Kelce's amazing, but we can't lie and say that Tyreek Hill didn't help him with opportunities, okay? He's still an amazing pass catcher. I just don't think he's a more freak of an athlete than Darren Waller. There's no way in my mind, okay? You have Hunter Renfrow. He's one of the better route runners in the NFL. He'll be in the slot starting on a consistent basis. You have a plethora of number 2 guys ever since you moved on from Bryan Edwards. I mean, you got Marcus Robinson. You got, let's see here, Marcus Robinson. You got Hillis. I mean, there's a number of guys that could probably step in, and there's still room to grow, and that's why we're talking right here before we end the show, for that matter. Tomorrow morning. Sorry, not tomorrow. I keep thinking it's June 1st. I don't know why, guys. I'm so sorry. Memorial Day, for some reason, I hope everybody had a great weekend. Memorial Day, for some reason, has me programmed that it's on the 31st. That's my bad. It's the Monday. It's that last Monday of the May. So not tomorrow, but Thursday, June 2nd, the Raiders will have another $20 million in cap space added to their cap room, which is currently at like $5.15 million, okay? That's because they are cutting Corey Littleton and Nick Kwiatkowski at that time. Those guys were designated June 1st cuts. As we've talked about on the show, each team, if it benefits their cap space or their roster or their construction of their cap, they can designate 2 players to be post-June 1 cuts, especially if those post-June 1 cuts provide more salary cap than pre-June 1 cuts, if that makes sense. It's all about the roster structure in the NFL and when that money kicks in. Those 2 guys will officially be cut tomorrow. Therefore, $20 million will be added to the Raiders' cap space on June 2nd. So the Raiders will have $25 million to play with. As of right now, the rumors are Ndamukong Suh is one of the top guys. Darrell Williams is one of the top guys. If you guys have tuned into the show, I've listed a number of guys that I think the Raiders should go out and get because it's going to make them a better football team, right? Ndamukong Suh would be a perfect example of somebody who embodies a Raider. A nasty human being in the middle. He hasn't missed a game in almost 5-6 seasons for that matter. He's still tallying up sacks. He's still tallying up pressures, run stoppages. All right, you already have a defensive line room that's very deep. You don't have to play him all the time. You can have him on a really good rotation. I'm telling you, Ndamukong Suh, I don't care the fact that he's 35 years old, means nothing to me. He hasn't missed a game, and he's still been extremely productive. If the Bucs want him back, which they do, that tells you something. The Bucs aren't going to ask him to come back if he's not producing. He's very, very integral in that 3-4 system, all right, in the Tampa Bay Bucs. I think he's an excellent, excellent player still, okay? Darrell Williams is the best available offensive lineman Well, actually, I take that back. J.C. Tretter, the All-Pro center, is technically the best available offensive lineman on the market. If you feel like you're comfortable with Andre James, then you stick to what you're doing. Okay? If you feel like J.C. Tretter can come in and beat out Andre James, which I can tell you guys right now with certainty he could because he's an All-Pro center, sign him. Move Dylan Parham to guard. Figure out what you want to do with Andre James. Again, the best 5 need to be up front. It looks as though, as we've said for the last couple weeks, Alex Leatherwood is getting a ton of looks at tackle. I think this staff would have drafted him because he's an Alabama product. He's somebody that's been looked at by Saban for years. I wouldn't be surprised if the New England Patriots would have drafted Alex Leatherwood later in the first round last year, if they would have had the opportunity to, if not the second round. Alex Leatherwood, the talent is not debatable. Where he was drafted was debatable. It's almost like the Cleveland Farrell situation. Excellent talent, hell of a football player, but he was drafted at number 4. That's an impact position, and he hasn't lived up to the hype. That was the Raiders' Achilles heel with the last regime. This regime drafts value. Best available player and value at the spot. Okay? So that's what we're going to see a lot of over the next few years. I think Darrell Williams would be an excellent signing. If you can't grab Darrell Williams, I do believe you pull the trigger on J.C. Tretter. Don't let an all-pro center go to another team, especially within the division. Okay? Bring in J.C. Tretter, upgrade your center position because it's one of the most important positions on the field next to left tackle and quarterback. He legitimately tells the rest of the offensive linemen what's coming. All right? He points out the middle linebacker. He makes the call-outs from there. Everything coordinates from there, whether it's zone blocking left, right, it doesn't matter. Gap blocking left, right, doesn't matter. Pass pro left, right, doesn't matter. The center calls that out. He's the smartest dude on the offensive line. Not always the biggest, not always the strongest. They don't have to be. But J.C. Tretter would come in and upgrade that position, giving Dylan Parham one of the guard positions if you want to. If not, you still got a very experienced John Simpson. Alex Leatherwood could play guard. I think he'll end up playing tackle. I think that's what their option is. That's what they want to do. You still have Denzel Good here. There's tons of depth. Go out and get J.C. Tretter and Darrell Williams. You have $25 million in cap space, and neither one of those guys are going to command that much money, considering they're still available. They're both about to turn 30. Actually, I want to say J.C. Tretter is 31, and Darrell Williams will turn 30 this year. Okay? Again, good impact starting pieces that you can throw on your offensive line that will be upgrades over what's available on the roster now. Don't hesitate. If you can do it, Raiders, do it. Will Fuller's still available. He's a speedster. His issue's been staying available. But when you have as much depth as the Raiders have, if you can really utilize his speed and stretch the field and open things up for Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, and Hunter Renfrow, that's what you use Will Fuller for. If he catches 5 touchdowns on the year because he legitimately just burns everybody, and Derek Carr, being one of the better deep passers in the NFL, just throws it up to him, who cares? Let him do it. If you can improve the team, do it. It's that simple. But personally, to me, your 3 top priorities should be Ndamukong Suh, J.C. Tretter, Darrell Williams. Okay? Then you mix in Will Fuller. OBJ's a possibility. I'm worried about the ACL injury. It is what it is, man. I don't think he's going to be the same guy. That's okay to say, in my opinion. It's okay to say. It's going to be his second knee surgery. He's had an ACL injury on both knees now. He's not going to be the same guy, but he's still going to be an electric player. He's still very good in space. We have to let OBJ do his thing if you can get him. But personally, in my opinion, you already have 3 impact guys in the receiving room in Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. Go out and get a Will Fuller. Let him stretch the field. Maybe a Sanders out of Buffalo, right? I know he's going to be 36. Who cares? He stretched the field really well for Buffalo last year. He's just gotten older. They're moving on from his contract. There's going to be players available, not to mention other teams will be cutting players post June 1. No different than what the Raiders did because it's advantageous to their roster and their cap room. Maybe some of these teams think, hey, you know what? We might be able to get some more money in the back end if we do this. They sit on the market for a little bit, we get them right back at a lower rate. Sometimes that's how it works. The NFL is a business, man. But the Raiders should definitely put that $25 million to good use because it's not going to do any good for next year's team, right? Sign these guys all to 1-year deals. If you feel like there's a special guy that you can get for 2 years, do it. But just know, TV money's coming in next year. There's going to be a nice $20 million cap jump probably this upcoming offseason. And your team probably, I think the Raiders currently on track to have about $87-90 million available. You have to re-sign Hunter Renfrow. You have to re-sign Darren Waller. Those two guys need to be priorities, but it is what it is. As you guys know, we love you. Ladies and sinners, thank you so much for listening in. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. Love, peace, and hair grease.